Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of What Happened. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into one of the most devastating years in Korean entertainment history. We're talking about 2025, a year that saw some of South Korea's biggest stars fall from grace, billion-won productions get shelved, and an entire industry forced to confront a harsh reality about the fragility of celebrity-dependent content. Now, if you've been following K-dramas and Korean entertainment, you know that 2025 was supposed to be a victory lap for the industry. Korean content was dominating globally, production budgets were at all-time highs, and stars were earning more than ever before. But then, everything started falling apart in ways nobody could have predicted. What makes this story so compelling isn't just the scandals themselves, it's how they revealed a fundamental vulnerability in how Korean entertainment operates. We're talking about a system where a single actor's downfall can destroy hundreds of millions of won in investments and put hundreds of people out of work. This is the story of how an industry built on star power discovered just how dangerous that dependence could be. Let's start with the scandal that kicked everything off and sent shockwaves through the industry. In February 2025, the entertainment world was rocked by the tragic death of actress Kim Sae-ron. But what should have been a moment of mourning quickly turned into something much more complicated and controversial. Following her death, Kim Sae-ron's family made explosive allegations that would dominate headlines for months. They claimed that Kim Soo-hyun, one of Korea's biggest Hallyu stars, had been in a romantic relationship with Kim Sae-ron when she was a minor. The family alleged this relationship lasted 6 years and suggested it contributed to her financial difficulties and eventual downward spiral. Kim Soo-hyun's agency immediately and strongly denied these claims, calling them clearly false. The actor himself later clarified that any relationship between them began only when both were adults. But in the court of public opinion, the damage was already done. The controversy intensified when the family released photos and private messages that seemed to support their claims. By March, Kim Soo-hyun was forced to hold a press conference to address the allegations directly. But instead of calming the storm, it seemed to make things worse. Public sentiment had turned decisively against him, with calls for his removal from programs and advertising contracts growing louder by the day. The immediate impact was devastating for his career. Disney's highly anticipated series Knock Off, which follows a man's rise from office worker to counterfeit kingpin after the 1997 Asian financial crisis, was indefinitely postponed. The show had already completed filming and was set to release in the first half of 2025. After weeks of internal review, Disney announced they would put the release on hold, effectively shelving the project indefinitely. But Kim Soo-hyun's troubles were just the beginning. The real shock came later in the year when the industry faced an even more devastating scandal involving one of its most respected veterans. In December 2025, actor Cho Jin-woong became the center of a controversy that would shake the foundation of Korean entertainment. Reports surfaced revealing that the veteran actor had a juvenile criminal record from his high school years, including serious offenses like car theft and attempted sexual assault. What made this revelation particularly shocking was the stark contrast between Cho Jin-woong's public image and his hidden past. He had built his career playing righteous, moral characters, most famously Detective Lee Jae-han in the beloved series Signal. This character was known for his unwavering pursuit of justice, and his famous line, "There is no crime that should be buried or forgotten." The irony was devastating. Here was an actor who had become famous for portraying moral authority, but had apparently concealed a criminal past that directly contradicted everything his characters represented. Cho Jin-woong's agency acknowledged he had made mistakes as a minor, but denied the sexual assault allegations. However, the damage was immediate and irreversible. The next day, Cho announced he would accept all criticism and retire from acting completely. This announcement created a massive crisis for TVN's Signal 2, the long-awaited sequel to the 2016 hit crime drama. The show had already finished filming, with Cho reprising his beloved role as Detective Lee Jae-han, and was in post-production for a planned 2026 release. With hundreds of billions of won invested, and Cho appearing in scenes that cannot realistically be edited or reshot, producers faced an impossible dilemma. The production team released a heartbreaking statement. "We deeply empathize with your disappointment and concern, and our hearts are heavy and regretful. From planning through production, The second signal has been created through the efforts of countless staff, actors, and partners. To protect the value that Signal holds, we will spare no effort to find the best course of action for the project. But the damage extended beyond just Cho Jin-woong. His co-stars Kim Hye-soo and Lee Ji-hoon, who had completed filming and had high hopes for the sequel, now faced unexpected pressure. For fans who had waited nearly 10 years for Signal 2, the situation was particularly heartbreaking. The scandals weren't limited to male actors. Park Na-rae, a beloved variety star long known for her appearances on MBC's I Live Alone, also found herself at the center of controversy. Former managers accused her of workplace abuse and excessive demands, including alleged incidents involving off-site IV treatments, a controversy that Korean social media dubbed the injection aunt scandal. The managers filed for a provisional seizure order on Park's property ahead of a damages suit, saying they feared concealment of assets. Park apologized and announced she would step away from all programs, but the damage was done. 2 upcoming shows built around her, the travel reality program Palm Oil Trip and the new series I'm Excited Too, were effectively scrapped. Even K-pop wasn't immune. SHINee's Key faced public criticism over allegedly illegal cosmetic procedures, despite maintaining a spotless career since his 2008 debut. His defense that he was unaware of the illegality drew significant public backlash, especially given his mother's decades-long nursing experience. What made 2025 particularly devastating wasn't just the number of scandals, but how they exposed fundamental weaknesses in how the Korean entertainment industry operates. Industry insiders began calling it the growing risk of star-dependent productions, where a single casting choice can determine a show's fate even after millions have already been spent. The numbers are staggering. According to industry sources, drama budgets have more than tripled compared to the pre-COVID era, with the increase in lead actors' fees being particularly notable. Kim Soo-hyun was reportedly earning 200 million won per episode, making him one of the highest-paid actors in Korean television. But here's the problem. When you invest that much money in a single person, you're essentially betting your entire production on their continued good reputation. And as 2025 proved, that reputation can disappear overnight. The contractual reality makes things even worse. As one drama producer explained, for lead actors, when you send a contract, the clauses often get revised. Even if we want to include responsibility-related provisions, if the actor requests changes, we have no choice but to accept them. In contracts, the actor is dominant and the production company is subordinate. Even when contracts include clauses about causing social controversy, they face ambiguity. How far does social controversy extend? How do you calculate the scale of damages? It's challenging to account for losses that include both production costs and potential additional revenue. The industry's response has been mixed. Some companies are pushing for stronger clauses, holding actors accountable for past actions. Others are advocating for better background checks before casting decisions. But the fundamental problem remains. Korean entertainment has become so star-driven that it's almost impossible to protect against these kinds of risks. The global success of Korean content has only made this problem worse. With international streaming platforms like Netflix and Disney investing heavily in Korean productions, the stakes have never been higher. When a show gets shelved because of a scandal, it's not just local money at risk, it's global investments and Korea's reputation as a reliable content producer. The human cost of these scandals extends far beyond the celebrities involved. When Signal 2 was put on indefinite hold, it affected hundreds of staff members, crew, and supporting actors who had worked on the project. When Knockoff was shelved, it impacted not just Disney's investment, but all the Korean talent and crew attached to the production. For fans, the impact has been equally devastating. Korean drama fans had waited nearly a decade for Signal 2. The original series was considered one of the greatest K-dramas ever made, and the sequel represented a chance to revisit beloved characters and conclude unfinished storylines. Now, that may never happen. The 2025 scandals have also highlighted cultural differences in how scandals are perceived and handled. While Western entertainment often allows for comeback stories and second chances, Korean entertainment culture tends to be far less forgiving. Once a star falls from grace, the industry and public often demand complete exile rather than redemption. This creates a particularly harsh environment where past mistakes, even those made as juveniles, can destroy careers decades later. It also means that production companies have to consider not just an actor's current behavior, but their entire life history when making casting decisions. Looking forward, the industry is grappling with how to protect itself from similar crises. Some companies are exploring ensemble casting that doesn't rely as heavily on individual star power. Others are pushing for industry-wide standards for background checks and contractual protections. There's also discussion about creating insurance policies that could protect productions from star-related scandals. But these solutions come with their own challenges. They could make the industry more risk-averse and potentially stifle the kind of star-driven content that has made Korean entertainment globally successful. The 2025 scandals have fundamentally changed how the Korean entertainment industry thinks about celebrity and risk. The days of building entire productions around single stars without considering the potential downside may be coming to an end. What we've learned is that in an industry built on image and reputation, the higher the pedestal, the farther the fall. And when that fall happens, it doesn't just destroy individual careers, it can take down entire productions, hundreds of jobs, and millions of dollars in investment. The scandals of 2025 serve as a wake-up call for an industry that had perhaps become too comfortable with its global success. Korean entertainment will need to find new ways to balance star power with protection against the kind of devastating scandals that define this year. Whether shows like Signal 2 will ever see the light of day remains unclear. What is clear is that the Korean entertainment industry will never be quite the same. The events of 2025 have forced a reckoning with how celebrity culture operates and what happens when the foundation of that culture, trust in the stars themselves, begins to crumble. And that's what happened to Korean entertainment in 2025. A year that was supposed to be a celebration of global success instead became a cautionary tale about the dangers of putting too much faith in celebrity image. The industry learned that no matter how big the star or how successful the content, reputation can disappear in an instant, taking everything built on it down with it. What do you think about how the Korean entertainment industry handles scandals compared to other countries? And do you think shows like Signal 2 should still be released despite the controversies? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most turbulent years in Korean entertainment history, hit that subscribe button for more stories about what happens when fame, fortune, and human nature collide. I'll see you in the next one.